Alright, a very good afternoon there. Today we are going to have a lecture from about micronutrients, and our learning objective is to explore the micronutrients into details, understanding what they are. We will also get to understand the two micronutrients, which are basically minerals and vitamins. We'll be able to know the difference between a fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins, and we'll understand the characteristics of vitamins. We explore the function of major vitamins and minerals in our bodies in this very lecture. So let's get to understand micronutrients are often referred to as vitamins and minerals, and they are essential for optimal health and well-being. Despite the fact that they are very small in size and requirements in lower amounts compared to macronutrients, is that they play crucial roles in numerous bodily functions. And looking into minerals here, minerals are inorganic elements that are crucial for building your bones, teeth, tissues, and regulating bodily functions, and so many others. Yeah, so I have vitamins here, organic compounds. Like I said, organic compounds have carbon in them. So all vitamins have the carbon in their structure. Sorry. So organic compounds needed for various metabolic processes that which call these vitamins. And then water-soluble vitamins are one of the types of the vitamins, those ones that dissolve in water, and they are readily absorbed and excreted. You can easily absorb them and you can easily excrete them because they dissolve in the body fluids and water and all that. Then the fat-soluble vitamins, for them, they absorb and store in fat, and they require fat for their absorption. Then the examples could include the vitamin A, D, E, K. Yes, so diving into general characteristics of vitamins is that they are not synthesized by the body, with the exception of niacin, which is vitamin B3. And it is synthesized from an amino acid called tryptophan. And vitamin D3 is synthesized in the skin from 7-dehydroxycholesterol as well. So these are the two kind of vitamins that are synthesized by the body. And this vitamin D3 is synthesized under the sun in the presence of UV light. So some vitamins are partially synthesized in the body by intestinal microbiome. You know what microbiome is, the group of helpful or important microorganisms like bacteria that are found in your gut. But they are in insufficient quantities. For example, the vitamin K, then the vitamin B complex 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 can also be synthesized in our gut, though they are in really very minute quantities that it cannot really do anything in your body that is significant. So biologically active forms are required in very small or minute quantities that your body really needs. Higher doses can be used for medicinal purposes. However, you also have to understand that some of these vitamins also have toxicity risk. So you have vitamin D, C, and B complex. They can boost your immune system so that they can help fight viral and bacterial infections and many other more. One other concept we need to understand is hypovitaminosis. Hypo here means very low. So this is because of the vitamins are not synthesized or they are not stored in the body, and the risk of hypovitaminosis is very high for most populations, especially the water-soluble vitamins, like we talked earlier, that they can be excreted in the water. They can easily dissolve and get excreted in water, so you can lose them. They are not really readily stored in your body. So hypovitaminosis can be due to external or internal causes, and the external causes there is the deficiency of vitamin in the diet or presence of inhibitory factors that may hinder digestion and absorption of vitamins. Looking at this, some of these vitamins you need to eat them from your foods or your daily diets, especially in our fruits and vegetables. And now, if you don't really take sufficient or adequate amounts of these foods that are rich in these vitamins that we need, then you can definitely become deficient, or hypovitaminosis can also set in for you. However, there are also other factors that much as you take a lot of these vitamins, they have also what called inhibitory factors in your body. What happens is that they will hinder the digestion and absorption of vitamins. For example, in large proportions, the protein avidin in raw eggs may bind to biotin and lead to deficiency. Raw eggs have avidin, a protein that readily binds to eggs, to biotin, sorry, which is vitamin B7, and then you can lead to this deficiency of B7. However, this avidin here can be weakened or broken down with a slight heating. Once you heat or boil the eggs, you sort of already manage to destroy this avidin, and you can get your biotin so freely from eggs. Hypovitaminosis still is certain diets which do not account for need of a particular vitamins. For example, protein-free diets may lead to an increased demand for vitamin B3. B3, like we talked earlier, is synthesized from tryptophan. So if you're on a diet that is emphasizing less or protein-free foods, then you're definitely going to have a deficiency of some of these vitamins, which include majorly the niacin or vitamin B3. Since you need this tryptophan, which is obtained from proteins, and the proteins are the very ones that you're trying to cut off from your diet if you're in a protein-free diet, so definitely have an issue with that. Then we have social reasons also. For example, people not getting enough sunshine for D3 synthesis due to work. Most people, they really don't have enough time of being exposed to the sunshine or UV light, because full time they work in the offices, they get there so early, they sit in the offices full time. They rarely get out, and they get maybe out when they're also going back home, and unfortunately most of them have their cars, and they are always in the car from out of the home into your car, then direct for work, and then you sit in the office full time. Later in the evening you get into your car. Like, meaning the little time you have been exposed to sunshine is when you're getting into your car and getting out of your car in office. At home, it's definitely you reach late when it's already night and there's no sunshine, so you don't get time to do that. So one of these vitamins that is synthesized from your body, which is D3, cannot be really synthesized in adequate amounts, especially those in the urban places, and also those who like the highly processed foods like the candy foods may also have these antacids, anti-nutrient factors that can also hinder or inhibit the absorption of particular nutrients. Internal causes of this is that these are the causes that comes deep within you as an individual. It's not according to your lifestyle or something. And we start with the physiological increased needs for the vitamins. For example, in pregnancy, teenagehood, as childhood, and physical labor. Once you're pregnant, you need more vitamins than someone of your same age who is not pregnant. And even teenage age, childhood, you really need a lot of this. So that will also result into hypovitaminosis if you happen not to take in sufficient amounts. And then there's also need during and recovery from long-term or severe infectious disease. These are some of the vitamins are one of the nutrients that are very important in boosting your immune system and are fighting diseases, and they help in energy metabolism. So as the energy metabolism takes place in your body, or protein synthesis and everything, some of these steps requires these vitamins, and they utilize a lot of this exercise during this infectious disease and tissue synthesis, tissue repair, and everything. So they get to utilize these vitamins, which if you don't continue taking in more consistently, then surely you have to suffer from hypovitaminosis. And then also we have diseases or metabolic disturbances of the digestive system. Now, this will impair digestion and absorption of certain foods. Look at the case where you've eaten your food very well, but before you take 10 minutes, you're already vomiting, or maybe you have food poisoning, you're already diureting. Or you have ulcers, you have that kind of bloated stomach, you have the digestion is not really proper, and gastritis. This also affects the digestion, and this can lead into atrophy. Atrophy is like a loss of function, meaning your intestinal mucosa can have a loss of function, meaning the intestinal some mucosa may not function as it's supposed to function actually. So it will affect the way the vitamin is being absorbed, especially vitamin B12. And this issue of atrophy is more pronounced in the elderly, that they have a lot of issues with digestion. The digestive system is being so much disturbed. The cells at the internal mucosa is not so much functional compared to that of a younger youth or child. And the major thing that comes in here is that they have vitamin B12 deficiency. This is one of the vitamin that we have looked at, or we will look at, that it is absorbed through the intestine, along the intestinal wall, and it is affected by the atrophies. This one. And then intestinal dysbacteriosis, which is an imbalance in the gut microbiome, meaning the vitamin synthesized by the gut microbiome may not be synthesized because there's an imbalance in the bacteria in your gut or intestinal tract. You have liver cirrhosis, which liver is the main deposit site for vitamins. We know that, particularly the fat-soluble vitamins. So if this is damaged, then we may not be able to deposit that, because liver can help us store the fat-soluble vitamins. And then if you have it damaged, then you don't really have a store for them. You definitely have to suffer hypovitaminosis. Then we have genetic defects of the enzymatic system. Some of these enzymes are affected by genetic makeup of a person. You find out that some genes, some proteins, some enzymes don't really function on the enzymatic systems. You look at some children lack the enzyme hydroxylase, and this hydroxylase is important in the active form of vitamin D, in the formation of the active form of vitamin D, and therefore one may get rickets despite sufficient sun exposure. Even if you're exposed to the sun, but if you cannot really convert this vitamin to its active form, then it's of no use. That's why this thing needs an integrated form, that you need to understand somebody's genetics, you need to understand the exposure to the sun and everything, so that you'll be able to come with a harmonized or holistic way of handling a certain condition. Fat-soluble vitamins versus the water-soluble vitamins, the comparison or the differentiation here is that one, according to solubility, that fat-soluble vitamins are soluble in fats and oils, and then the water-soluble vitamins are soluble in water. The storage is that fat-soluble vitamins can be stored in the liver and fatty tissues, and yet water-soluble vitamins can never be stored in your body for long. Because for them, they are soluble in water, they dissolve in your fluids, body fluids, and then you lose them as you urinate, as you do everything, as you lose water from your body. They also get excreted out. Then excessive intake here can lead to toxicity for fat-soluble vitamins, because most of them can be kept in your fat tissues and everything. But in a water-soluble vitamin, for them they are typically excreted in our urine, and then we end up not having them in our body, hence no toxicity levels that has been known for most of these water-soluble vitamins. Starting with vitamins that are fat-soluble, we look at vitamin A. Its preformed form is vitamin A and provitamin A. And what are its major function is that it provides vision in night and color. Night and color promote resistance to bacterial infections and overall immune system through the mucus production. There is also promotion of growth and prevent drying skin and eyes, antioxidant and the itching treatment. So this vitamin here is very crucial for all those functions. And if you have a chance to do the clinical assessment and maybe some lectures of that kind, you get to understand how these diseases affects us so much. So vitamin D here is I was sorry, not diseases, I was meaning the symptoms, how they can relate to all these vitamin A maybe deficiency, if they're deficient, what do you see and all that. Then for vitamin D, it is here, its major role is increasing the absorption of calcium and phosphorus, and it also maintain an optimal blood calcium and calcification of bones then and skin development. So your skin can will develop well, the calcifications, deposition of this calcium in your bones, and then that's all it does, and absorption of this calcium. Later on, we will look how it is also involved in the regulation of calcium absorption and everything about that. Vitamin E, majorly, it is an antioxidant. It prevents the breakdown of vitamin A and unsaturated fatty acids. So it improves vitamin A absorption, metabolizes iron in the cells, maintain nervous tissue and immune system. This gives you a relationship between vitamin A and vitamin A, meaning if you're vitamin E, sorry. So if you're taking vitamin A, you definitely need some vitamin E to increase its absorption. That would be quite fair and wise of you to do that. Then we have vitamin K. That one is for activation of the blood clotting factors, prothrombin and everything. And then the activation of proteins that are involved in bone metabolism. Looking further now into the water-soluble vitamins, which are majorly the B vitamins, starting with the thiamine, which is vitamin B1. Coenzyme of this is a coenzyme of carbohydrate metabolism and nerve functions. That is majorly what it does. You can have this for energy metabolism, meaning if you one serious source of this thiamine is pork, and this is good news to those who like pork or eat excessive of it, that you will have what? You'll be able to have the thiamine in it, but you still need to do analysis that you may have your thiamine, but then you're also taking in a lot of trans fat and everything from the pork. However, that's not the concern right now. You just need to integrate that into an understanding and bring it into applicable forms. That thiamine here is important in carbohydrate metabolism. Meaning if you're recommending a high carbohydrate diet, you really need to include in there sources of thiamine, which is a vitamin, such that metabolism actually does function well. Riboflavin, which is vitamin B2, it is a coenzyme of oxygen requiring pathway like fatty acid breakdown, homocysteine metabolism and everything. So these reactions that requires oxygen, riboflavin is right there. And niacin, which is B3, is usually by almost all metabolic pathway. The coenzyme is a coenzyme for energy metabolism, just like thiamine, and makes new compounds and the enzyme of fat synthesis. Pantothenic acid, which is a vitamin B5, is a coenzyme of energy metabolism from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and a coenzyme of fat synthesis or fat breakdown. So that is basically it. You realize most of these B vitamins, their functions are just to help with energy metabolism. Let's look at B6, and it's also a coenzyme, just like also B5. It has numerous enzymes of carbohydrates, fats, and especially in protein metabolism, which is very important. It does that by splitting the nitrogen group from amino acids, and that is neurotransmitter synthesis, hemoglobin, and then white blood cell synthesis. So we'll get to understand that so deeply upon joining, upon taking some time to re-understand these processes, especially these vitamin B6 and protein metabolism. You can get that clear concept that it's a cofactor, a coenzyme, sorry. So biotin here, B7, is also one of them. It is also a coenzyme for glucose production and the fat synthesis by adding carbon dioxide to other folate here, which is vitamin B9, that is an enzyme that is involved in DNA synthesis to help form new red blood cells by supplying or accepting single carbon compounds. It helps form neurotransmitters in the brain to help with depression. Those who are depressed and everything, you could possibly take B9 supplements. Those who are sickle cell anemia, you have issues with your blood shape and everything, you could help yourself with B9. I've seen so many people who take the combination of this B12 and B9, I think even B6, into one group and they discuss something. Let's looking into vitamin B12, which in other words is called cobalamin. Is also a coenzyme of folate metabolism, meaning for you to metabolize the folate you needed, that it converts folate to its active form, then maintains the myelin sheath that is on the neurons. You can see that fatty tissue called the myelin sheath that is form along that. It helps to insulate the neurons. Then they form two other. They insulate neurons from each other and maintain nerve function and homocysteine metabolism. Sorry about that error. So then going ahead into vitamin C, this is important for collagen synthesis, for connective tissues and wound healing. If you need your wound to heal very fast, take vitamin C. If you have injuries, incorporate vitamin C into your foods. It's not only very important in connective tissues, this can also help you in defense immune system. Yeah, so that's very important. That it also plays some role of antioxidant activity, so it reduces the destruction of folate and then increases the absorption of iron, and then immune system and the defense versus common cold. So it defends you from your common colds and everything. So that's it. And then going forward into choline, is a part of acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter and is a part of lecithin protein, which is a phospholipid and homocysteine metabolism. Now let's say why should you take some vitamin rich foods. So one is that you need adequate amounts of vitamins. Adequate amount of vitamins can be obtained from your diet, by the way. So that could be one of the reasons you need to take in those rich foods. And then eating 5+ servings per day are suggested to obtain adequate vitamins. If you eat like up to 5 servings of those vitamins, then you definitely have reached your adequate. However, most of the population fail to consume even 1 serving of a fruit per day, and most people eat too few vegetables, seriously, because people are not into these things of vegetables, by the way. So many people are not into them unless they really get to understand what they really are. And individuals are at risk of consuming deficient amounts of a given vitamin if intake is less than 67% of the RDA, the recommended daily allowance. Recommended dietary allowance, sorry. So let's look into minerals. We say we have macronutrients, those that are major and have larger molecules or required in large amounts, or these micronutrients. One is calcium, that is building strong bones and healthy and teeth. Aid its muscle function, and nerve transmission. Calcium here is part of what we call acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, yes, one of the neurotransmitter. To produce it at the muscle junction, it's very important. So that helps in also muscle function. It's also important in muscle contraction. The process of muscle contraction there requires some calcium. So it helps you in building also strong bone and teeth and everything. So that's how important calcium can be. Then magnesium here too, like just calcium, it supports muscle and nerve functions. However, it is also involved in regulation of blood sugars and blood pressures. Then potassium here, fluid balance, that's the one of its major function that it is important in fluid balance. It's an antagonistic in action to sodium. Yeah, in function, it's antagonistic to sodium, which we have sodium right there. On us that sodium here regulates fluid balance too, and it's a tensor for nerve and muscle function that can be easily understood. Looking into phosphorus, phosphorus here builds bones and teeth and aids energy production and cell by a cell membrane. You know how we have phosphate groups and everything, so that could be one of its functions, that it can release a phosphate group to it, the phosphorus. And chloride here, chloride ion is a negatively charged ion, so it maintains the fluid balance, it aids in digestion and pH balance. We have trace elements, those that are tiny, required in small amounts, things like iron that carries oxygen into the blood cells. Iron is a central metal inside, or central ion inside there. One inside hemoglobin. Yeah, it reaches the sense of energy metabolism. You transport oxygen that helps in energy metabolism. Then we have zinc here. This zinc supports immune function, very important. It's important in wound healing and cell growth. Also, when we have zinc that can be used to prevent things like diarrhea. You realize there are even zinc syrup like zinc sulfate, which are very important to control diarrhea in young children or babies. Then selenium, this one acts as an antioxidant, is protecting cells from damage, also supports immune function and thyroid function. So there are wide ranges of functions of these minerals and vitamins. However, you can sit down and incorporate them into an understanding, harmonize them into one. When someone starts seeking for advice on a particular food, what do you do? What do you aim at? After understanding these vegetables, there are minerals that you will need to do. So thank you very much, and we have come to the end of this lecture about the micronutrient overview, and I want to say thank you very much for that, and see you in the next lecture. Thank you.